I'm worried about Mikel Arteta. Before we start, I completely believe that Mikel Arteta is the right man for the job. There is no doubt he has improved Arsenal during his tenure, and we are a much better team now than we were 5 years ago when he joined. But there are a few decisions lately that I completely believe he is getting wrong. So let's discuss them. Firstly, his in-game tactical substitutions, I believe he has got wrong of late. Against Fulham, he took off Trossard for Martinelli, just as Trossard was finally starting to get into the game. Granted, Leo Trossard had a poor first half, but he had started getting some shots off, momentum was building, and what does Arteta do? He brings on Martinelli, and that instantly destroys any momentum that was building on Trossard's left-hand side. Then, against Everton, the same happens. Martinelli has had a poor start to the game, poor first half, but then he finally beats Young in a 1v1, gets Young a yellow card, and about 2 minutes later, Arteta takes Martinelli off for Trossard. In a 1v1 situation where you can capitalise on someone tiring late in a game, you want Martinelli's 1v1 pace and skill set. Trossard was the wrong person for that moment, and Mikel Arteta still persisted and made the wrong change. Finally, against Everton, why bring on Partey and put Timber left back when it was working with Miles Lewis-Skelly on that left-hand side? Why take off Martin Ødegaard, your world-class playmaking captain, and bring on a teenager who is relatively unproven? If you're going to bring on Nwaneri, which I'm not against, at least keep Martin Ødegaard on the pitch so he can coach them, and we can then have two creative outlets in the game to break down the deep block. It just seems like at the moment the balance of the team isn't right. We don't have enough creative presences and enough finishers throughout the squad. But still, even still, Arteta could make better in-game tactical tweaks to get positive outcomes on these results. Surely also in a game where Everton were very happy to give away the wide areas to Arsenal, it would make more sense to bring on Kieran Tierney instead of Partey, because Tierney is known, as much as he's limited at inverting, for his wing-busting, pacey runs down the left-hand side on the overlap. He's also got a very good cross of the ball. It would have made more sense, instead of bringing on Trossard around that period of time, keep Martinelli on, bring Tierney on and let Tierney overlap Martinelli so there's two quick runners running at Young. Because then Young, who's obviously in his 40s now, would have much more to think about than just Trossard. Another thing that I wonder about Arteta of late is, why are we persisting with Thomas Partey playing right back? Partey's best with his progressive passes going through the central periods of the pitch. He's also very, very slow. So why are we persisting with Partey at right back where he can't offer his progressive passes? In the press conference, Arteta did say Declan Rice had picked up an injury and asked to come off, so I can't slate him for that substitution. Decisions this season also that have cost us is the red card decisions. I can't slate him for the Man City game. We played really well with 10 men. But the Brighton game, Rice got sent off. We dropped back. We then tried to make the change to bring on, I think it was Calafiori, and in between before the sub could happen, Brighton scored in between the gaps. I'm not saying that if the sub had happened, we wouldn't have got it right and we wouldn't have conceded. We don't know that. We simply don't. But Arteta did act too slowly, and then once we went 1-0 down, he still persisted with a defensive change. Try and attack teams when you have 10 men. We've seen with Liverpool, literally yesterday, that they can get a result with 10 men. It shouldn't be as hard as Arsenal make it. His recent lineups. I mean, Everton, I believe he got the lineup right. But overall, recently, the lineups have lacked consistency and have been a bit strange. We've even seen the likes of Zinchenko starting, which is fine. You've got to give squad rotation a guess. But it just doesn't make sense. There's no joined up thinking by the looks of it. Also, what about Raheem Sterling? If we'd given him some more minutes earlier in the year, he could have been of use now. When we are really struggling with left-hand sided players, he is a 300k a week option. Granted, we got him for 100 on the left-hand side, and it feels like a real waste of his assets and abilities to not even try him. But we can't try him because he is not match fit. And why is he not match fit? Because Arteta didn't give him a proper chance at the start of the season. Finally, the system. Arteta is naturally a pragmatic person. He wants percentage football with the belief that that will give us the better of opponents over time, and that could then get positive results. Against Everton, statistically, we were levels above them. We naturally usually win that game. But the system doesn't count for individual brilliance. It either is that or we simply just don't have that moments player in the squad. The likes of Rafa Leao is what we are missing. Do our attackers such as Saka have too much defensive stability within the system? Responsibility, sorry. Think of Salah. He does not even a quarter of the defensive work that Saka has to do. Granted, Saka is very good at that. Maybe it's time to let a player be free within the system. I actually think out of all our players, Martinelli would be best suited for that free role because he is quicker than most of our assets and good in a 1v1. He's also played in 10 for Brazil, like in the number 10 position, and striker throughout his career in his early days. It could elevate his game even more. For example, if Martinelli at the moment is about 50% of his ability and he's stagnated for 2 years, if you change his role, you could then unlock 70% of that ability. Saka, I believe, is at 90% ability, so we are limited how much more we can get out of him. So Saka is world class, keep doing what he's doing. Ødegaard, we need him because he's extremely good within the press. But one issue we do have is Martinelli. We can get a lot more out of a player of his skill set. But we need uber consistency. Nelly has stagnated. Let's just give him a free roll and see what happens. That's what I think. Does Arteta need to get more out of Martinelli? What are your thoughts on this anyway? It's just not clicking this season. Arteta has been and is a phenomenal manager. He's grown the club exponentially in his tenure. It's just not going right at the moment, and that is something that happens. The issue is, the year City drop off, we were meant to be prepared to dominate and take that crown. That hasn't happened yet. I have faith Arteta will get it right, but his performance this season in key moments, I believe, has to be questioned. Let's just hope Arsenal Football Club can turn it around. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and put your comments on your view of what Arteta has done right or wrong this season. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.